to go from where he went to playing the way he did at Duke speaks well to the transition that he's about to make. And if he has the self-confidence as a shooter, we think it can translate positively. So,
what do you think he's going to have to prove if he's going to have a shot to be a rotational player here?
Yeah, I think, it's just going to be getting stronger and having the ability to guard multiple positions in switches and on the baseline screens and all that sort of thing. We can cycle him up just because we have a defensive foundation. Our format is defense. Our identity is defense. So we think that we have the capacity to kind of cover up for any weakness he may have in that area, and that's not fair to him to say that he has a weakness in that area, but rather he's going to have to learn and transition. So that process will start with Nate Bubis's head coaching debut at the Summer League, and we'll see. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention to everyone here really quick. We have 2 scouts that are celebrating their 30th draft. Zarko Jurisic and Ed Tapps got their invaluable members of our staff, and the opportunity to have learned from them over the last couple years, last 20 years in the NBA, and watching them, and then getting a chance to work with them the last 4 years proves why they're legendary scouts. So I just wanted to shout them out too.
Like I said, we talked to him a second ago. He said he thought he would go in the first round.
Yeah.
Do you like the aspect of maybe a guy coming in with maybe a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove himself in this league?
That's a great question. So that speaks to a little bit to Dane's question too. We think he's going to have the confidence to overcome any sort of short-term disappointment he may have been feeling in the moment. Again, like these shooters, these guys that have a short memory, it's probably going to work out well for him. And he's not going to come in compromised in any sort of intangibles way or confidence way. So, maybe that gives him a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. We're anticipating a really good opportunity here in the next couple of weeks to get to know him a little bit better.
Matt, how do you guys assess shooting? In the scouting process, where does what you're seeing versus analytics sort of play in together there?
Yeah, it's so developed over time, and generally, I don't think anyone shoots the exact same shot. If everyone did, they'd all look like Steph Curry, right? But we have, again, it's just watching him play for 2 years, watching him play in high school, in the high school All-American games, and in that format. We've seen him shoot a lot of three-point shots, and we probably watched every single one of them from this season at Duke in the process of getting to watch. So we think it's going to translate positively, and then we have the luxury of having an analytics model that projects shooting, and that projection was very positive. So given the combination of his measurements, his production, and what we've evaluated, his ability to stay on balance, his ability to get shots off the move, his ability to run into shots, those are all such valuable things in the NBA right now. And he's got those in spades just to start with, so we can build on that foundation. And again, like the more space we can create for Anthony, the better.
Man, what have you seen from Johan this summer here? And
Oh,
he's
boy.
getting
Here we
ready
go.
for Vegas and,
Yeah.
and everything.
So I think one of my favorite moments thus far of the offseason is we had a pickup game in here about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. And he got a defensive rebound. He dribbled the length of the floor, changed his direction of his dribble twice, and finished over the top of another player. So he's always, and we talked about him, we were all here last year, right? And we talked about his ability to learn and adapt very quickly. He's a quick learner. We're still very, very high on Johan. And I think we're going to play he and Rocco together at the Summer League, see what that looks like. But his progression since he got here, first off, he learned English, so that tends to help a little bit, right? And secondly, just he's put the work in to elicit a positive outcome because that's who he is. So, we're still very, very high on him. We saw in short segments last year, especially at the end of the season when he got some playing time, his ability to produce. And the expectation is that continues in Vegas.
Man, we've seen a lot of bright spots from Jaden and Naz offensively in recent years, but offensive consistency seems like it hasn't fully established itself. Do you think that's something that can come about with just more opportunity, more consistent opportunity? You think will be more consistent production play on that end?
It's such a good assessment, Chase, because we all want it right now, right? And in the 4 years I've been here, I've seen like that incremental building and growth of confidence and of production and of ability to. Those guys have played deep in the playoffs the last 3 years. And they've been a part of really good teams, so they understand what that takes now. So with increased responsibility, the expectation is increased production, right? So I think we saw it in the playoffs, especially with Jaden, when we were absorbing injuries, his ability to kind of produce offensively expanded. And because, again, we have a defensive foundation and we have multi-position defenders and ability to cover the ground in many ways, that only adds to his value. And so as he shifts, as he continues to grow, he'll experience the same thing. And Naz is such a premium player in the NBA because of his ability to spread the floor. He can play multiple positions too, especially on defense. And the opportunity to challenge him for more is coming. So, we'll see how it all shakes out. But that slow progression is fun to watch too, and it's fun to watch the story unfold. And we all want it right now. But being a big fan of the two of them, I mean, it's hard to look at the last 4 years and have any sort of regrets or doubts about their ability to continue to grow.
If more is demanded, you have confidence, I guess, that you'll see it more consistently.
I think internally we have a supreme confidence in that when we need it, that they're going to be ready to do it. Yeah.
Matt, with TJ last year, I mean, between the injuries and just kind of in and out of the rotation, I guess, what's your vision for him moving into next season?
Yeah, I think it kind of speaks to Coach Finch's ability to kind of self-analyze when he stood in front of everyone and said, I've been playing him the wrong way. And that came about of him watching TJ grow and expand and him showing the layers of his game that he had an opportunity to show, especially late in the season. I mean, we were sitting in Orlando. I worked there for 10 years. A couple of my coworkers after the game were astonished. He had a great game. I don't know if you guys remember at the end of this regular season, we were dealing with some injuries and getting ready for the playoffs, and he had an incredible game. So there is much more to TJ Shannon. I think, again, opportunity could exist for him. And we got to see it even in the playoffs. He had some big performances too. So he is the prototype wing for the NBA. And then if we put him in a position to initiate offense and play basically as the backup point guard in the second round of the playoffs, I mean, that shows the faith we have in him.
There's no point guard tonight. Do you view that as an urgent need as you head into free agency, or do you think it's something you can kind of patch together and like what you have now? Or
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I think free agency should elicit something. I don't know exactly what that is, and we do have the opportunity to kind of piece things together. We saw Jaden and Naz has a great handle. Naz's handle is far underrated. Jaden has the ability to initiate offense, and Anthony took giant steps forward with his ability to create last year as well. So. Not as concerned about it. I think we're going to start that process tomorrow and, really digging in on the culmination of our free agency prep. So we'll have to kind of wait and see till July 6th on that one.
My comments for a second.
Yep.
He played with Cooper Flagg and Cam Boozer. I know they're not Anthony Edwards, different types of players, but is there something the dots you connected there of kind of in playing with a real star player in college?
Yeah, it's the great luxury of the players that play at places like Duke and the blue blood programs like Kentucky, Duke, Arizona. They play with NBA players, so they're accustomed to being one of those rare guys whose college role may mirror their NBA role, and that's very rare. So I think having had that experience for the last 2 years is going to serve him well. He has played with a lot of NBA players and two different iterations, two different types of teams, two different groups of NBA players. So Isaiah's ability to play off of those guys has been compounded over the last 2 years especially, and he'll come in with a kind of ability to understand that immediately.
Any other questions?
Matt, just in terms of going into free agency now, do you expect to be kind of active just in terms of your ability to add
to transact?
Something?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think you guys all know my boss, right? He's starting to get the shakes, getting ready for free agency the last couple days here at the draft. So we'll always kind of invent a way to transact, even if at times maybe on paper it doesn't look as though we can, right? So something will happen. I don't know how, but we'll have mechanisms to utilize here in the next couple of weeks too.
Does it feel good to have the mechanisms, even though kind of the deadline, you had mechanisms to make other moves and things didn't come to fruition? Is it just nice to have that optionality? Is that kind of baked in that something can or might
totally
not happen too?
Yeah, it's having that space and having the bandwidth to we were getting calls about taking on contracts and being incentivized to do so and things of that manner. I think we anticipate similar things starting to unfold here in the next couple of days, especially. And as we get into July and things start falling through the cracks, there could be opportunities to have more bandwidth and more ability to transact. But part of it is our players generally, given our success the last 4 years, have high value across the league. So it's our responsibility to try to enhance the team as much as we possibly can, without compromising the core of the team.
Mike last year, a couple times, going back to like Jaden's increased role, had kind of mentioned that Jaden reminds him a lot of like Kyle Anderson as a playmaker. Do you kind of see that behind the scenes, that he could have that potential of being like a point forward type of player?
I mean, the funny part of Jaden, if you had seen him in high school and pre-Washington, he was an offensive-oriented player. So he gets to the pros and adapts and embraces the role of being a multi-position defender at the most critical part on the positional spectrum, his ability to kind of go either way. But he was an offensive player. He was an attacker, a slasher. His comps were offensive players, NBA offensive players. So that capacity has always been within him, and his ability to be drafted 26 and then embrace a specific role and then watch that role expand is a testament to him and to his work, and to a lesser degree to the player development program that we've had in place here. So yeah, I mean, like that's always an opportunity for him, but he's held that responsibility at other levels and really thrived in it, flourished in it. So there shouldn't be any reason that he shouldn't be able to continue to expand it.
Not even in reference to Trey, but everybody in positions like that, so often it's like, oh, that guy's a senior and it's considered like a finished product when they come to the NBA. But we've seen TJ improve in these last couple of years. Like, it's almost unfair to think that they can't make strides as players and continue to evolve.
Yeah, I mean, especially with
older.
I mean, think about how much winning Trey has seen in his college career, and even if he is a multi-position defensive-oriented player, he still averaged multiple assists, and he was a volume rebounder. So it's more about the vision of what we think Trey Kaufman-Renn can be, as opposed to maybe what he is or how he played. So he's going to have the opportunity to start that process when he comes in next week for Summer League, and then we'll see how it goes. It could be a situation where we try to transition him into a small forward that, again, can guard multiple positions, play a power type of role. And as we cycle up his shooting, we were so impressed with his maturity when he came in. He's a really intelligent kid. And again, he's seen so much winning that just kind of subconsciously seeps in there, and he should know, the intangible part of the game. Maybe he's a connector. Maybe he's a defensive connector. There's a world of opportunities of what he could be, and then we'll start that process at Summer League.